Welcome back to the Nose Plays Endless Space 2. Today we're picking up our game of Vaulters once more, along with our combat tips that we'll be providing at some point within the video. So here is the next thing that I am planning to take. We recently uncovered the fact that the system that's not too far from us, that contains our former homeworld of Ariga, also has a nice but small savanna planet with two very nice luxury resources, or strategic resources. So this is a system that has become very enticing to me, mainly because of the strategic resources, but also because we need this for our faction quest. And speaking of faction quest, we are well on our way to completing Chapter 1 with our Budokai bunkers that we've been putting down in all of our current systems. So we've got a lot to get done today. I'm going to try to move through things a little more quickly. I don't particularly see a law that's going to be very useful to us at this point in time, other than the one that we're already running, so we're just going to leave that as is. And we could go ahead and spend some resources on population boosting. Hiroshims get a lot of extra food by doing that, so we're going to go ahead and do that and make sure that our Hiroshims are actually on a sterile planet. I believe they're in our capital, if I'm not mistaken. No, not the capital. Is it Pollux? Yeah, Pollux has them. Oh. We do not have a sterile planet. Okay, well, we're working on colonizing this next. Maybe we move it ahead. No, we'll go ahead and get that first. Also, our approval rating is pretty low in this system, so let's go ahead and throw infinite supermarkets on there to get our approval rating a little higher. Go ahead and pull that guy over here. That gets us back up to happy just by moving it to there, but what else do we need to get done? I think that's about it for this turn. We did most of it last time, and the Argosy's ready in one turn, so we do have a small problem with that, though. And there it is. So there is a large fleet of pirates that have accumulated on this system. They're currently draining our defenses, and so one of the things that I may or may not have mentioned before, but whenever you blockade a system that doesn't belong to you, you'll cue this little icon next to the name of the system, and it will tell you how much you are currently reducing the enemy's manpower by. Now, these numbers are based off of the statistics of your fleet. I'm not sure if it's related to the offensive power of your fleet or just the number of ships in your fleet. It looks like it may just be the number of command points or ships in your fleet. In this case, it's minus 12 per turn to our manpower. So it's pretty slow in actually removing our defenses from the system. There are some ways to improve that, and we'll discuss those a little bit later. But we might be doing some of this ourselves in the future, so I wanted to point it out. We do want to get rid of these pirates as quickly as possible. Let's see if I can't get the Argosy out of here. And it looks like we got attacked right before we could leave. But that's fine. We're going to go ahead and retreat. And hopefully it'll send us, down the path that we wanted to go. It did not. So it sent us to the nearest friendly system. That's probably okay. We want to get to Atlas, which we can still do because we have our fancy drives. And actually, we may want to stop in Pollux. Let's see if there's anything we can improve. No, doesn't look like it. We already have 3 of these modules, so we're good as we can be. So let's just go ahead and queue up the movement to there for now. And get our fleet moving. And then let's go through our messages. So our fleet's getting built. Valter population growing in Bria. Breathe Deep event has ended, so we've lost some vision on one of our fleets. We already knew that.
Welcome to the Siphonity.
We've met the Siphonity. Okay, siphons are over on this corner of the galaxy. Let's go ahead and throw some probes out here. So I can see a lot of fog of war out this way, so let's send like one there and one there. And then we can send one this way and maybe that way. Alright, we found another endless planet. It looks like it's in this pirate system. Yeah, so that's going to be difficult to get to. Red Sang. Okay. We got a lot of curiosities to search over here. Let's start with this planet. Nothing in that one. Let's just hold on for more probes. Yeah, moving on to the next turn. Our fleet will be completed in 2 turns, and then we'll finish up some of these buildings that are kind of important to us. We also need to heal our hero, who was defeated in the previous episode, I believe. But we'll wait till the turn that we need him. Oh my, lots of things going on here. Get our ships moving. Okay, more curiosity searching. An average deposit of antimatter in this system, which does have the Academy. We'll wait one more turn. Getting things built. Alright, we're making progress with many of the minor factions. We're going to go ahead and try to pick up some quests from these guys if we haven't already. And we'll see if we can't get some of these quests completed. We don't really need the approval right now. Well, the approval would push us up quite significantly. And that would increase our food output. Yeah. Well, it's only going to increase it in this system, though. I think I would rather have the experience and the military. I'd like to get the military in our government at some point, but okay.
Your offensiveness drives Horatio to anger and distraction.
Horatio's not happy with us. We found that antimatter, and let's see what quests we got. Okay, so reach 70 approval in your empire and maintain it for 10 turns. Assign a hero to a fleet and send the fleet to Dorado system and orbit for 6 turns. Where is the Dorado system? Okay. Well, might change our plans a little bit. Take control of a planet in a new system adjacent to Seret. Well, we're about to do that quest, so that won't be too hard. And explore ruin-type curiosity until you discover Ishkaval. We're searching curiosities left and right, so those are all things that could potentially happen in the nearby future. The only one that's going to be difficult is the one where we're going to have to send a hero over here. I have plans for my hero at the moment to head over here and deal with these pirates, and then potentially over here to deal with these pirates. So unless we get a new hero, or we take our old hero and just throw her on a fleet for a brief period of time, it may be out of reach for us to grab that, at least through the quest. We might be able to do it just through pure influence, so we'll see. Alright, is there anything else that we need to deal with? Not at the moment, so... Move all of our ships. Okay. Okay, so our last ship is completed. We could go ahead and get this fleet out for the moment. She's got a new skill point. We'll give her the food for now. More vaulters. Okay, moving up in relations with these guys. Which ones are the nearest? Okay, so we've moved to the next tier with these. Sisters of Mercy population booster has ended. Let's just go ahead and pop as many boosters as we have the resources for. Plus 10 approval on all systems in Empire will be very helpful right now, and it will increase the militarist ideology, which I like. Okay. Objective achieved. We dropped off the Horatio before we got attacked by these pirates. And now it's time to retreat. I'm guessing we're probably going to head the same direction. Yeah. This is a scout ship. There's not a lot that needs scouting over here at the moment. There's a curiosity here and a couple here, but I don't really want to send them over that way. I guess we could send him over here and scout these curiosities, so it'll take a little while. Unfortunately, we can't retrofit him, but we could still make use of him, potentially. Alright, let's go ahead and deal with our scout ships first. There is something this way and this way, and I'm gonna go ahead and maybe we send it off this direction. We'll just kind of spread out and keep moving. Another curiosity can be searched here. Alright, destructive salvager. Dust per command point. We've assimilated these guys. We must have found whatever it was we were looking for. to deal with their population here in a second. Yeah, so we discovered whatever it was they wanted us to search for. We've obtained 80 influence in their civilization. That means we have a new fleet. This has a medium class attack ship and 2 small class attack ships. Again, we won't be able to retrofit any of these, but how many turns would it take this fleet to get over here? 6 turns to get over here and another 6 to finish our quest. Huh. I don't know if that's worth it. I think it might be better if we brought this fleet up here to deal with the pirates. It's going to take 6 turns to deal with them as well. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. And put this fleet to use. I really don't know much about it. We'll look at it in detail a little bit later. For right now, we're going to jump into some combat tips. And we know that we have 4 fleets in this particular system, each with 2 pirates, and each rocking some combination of missiles and slugs. Missiles and slugs, missiles and slugs. Missiles and slugs, yep. So this system is all missiles and slugs. So, based on what we know, button. We want to be more efficient at long range and have a small amount of kinetic weapons to help defend against their missiles. They don't have a lot of missiles and they're rocking very small fleets, so we won't be outnumbered in terms of the number of missiles. So the designs that we came up with earlier are still pretty valid, but I think we've improved some of our things, yes. So we can improve the defenses of this module. And we can also improve the kinetics of this. The engines are probably fine. This gives us a movement of 5, which isn't fantastic, but it doesn't cost any luxury resources. And the repair module is a pretty good one to go ahead and have on this ship. And then our carves, we have some slightly better weapons and shielding, so we'll put some shielding there. And these weapons, so compared to our beams, the beams have a long range effectiveness of 10 damage per second, but our lasers, because they're a higher tier, are actually at 12, even though their accuracy is lower. And so this is a better long range weapon currently. We don't want to use missiles because their kinetics will counter our missiles if we do, and we're going to be even more effective at medium range, so we're going to go ahead and equip our ships like this. And I'm going to go ahead and skip the repair module currently because it's just more expensive, and these ships are not going to get targeted with a lot of damage, hopefully, as long as our NAR is doing what it should. Okay, so we want to go ahead and retrofit these. And that's going to take them 5 turns to get there. And then last but not least, we need to heal our hero, which we have the dust for. It's kind of expensive. We're going to assign him to this fleet. And we're going to figure out what we want to do with this ship. So we need at least a movement of 5. We don't really need... I guess since it's already on there, we don't need to undo it. Go ahead and put the titanium probes. These ones have a very short cooldown, so we don't get a lot of probes, but they cool down very, very quickly, and that's actually pretty useful. We'll put a repair module on here because this ship tends to get damaged or destroyed, but as long as the rest of the fleet survives, he'll come back to life with like 1 hit point, and this will actually repair 15% of his health total. We'll go ahead and put that on, and then I'm also going to put a shield on him. And then we're going to upgrade his main weapon and his kinetic weapon. So this will help defend against missile damage, this will give us better long-range damage, and then splitting these is probably the better choice for now. Because we're not really sure what we're going to do with him. I mean, currently the enemy is going completely kinetic, so this would actually be slightly better, but this will just prevent me from having to do it later on. Alright. And we can go ahead and get here in the 5 turns we saw before. Before we move, is there any fog of war that we need to uncover? Just a little teeny piece there. There's a little bit up here. We can shoot out a probe into that fog of war for now. Maybe down this way. Okay. And now that that's done, we're pretty much good. I don't think we have anything else going on this turn, so we're going to go ahead and end the turn. Oh, we have a new system. Ah, yes. Okay, so the most important, our Tier 1 modernization. Then we're going to grab the 2 basic buildings. If we click on this, this will show us everything they've already built. So they've done quite a bit of building already for us, which is good. They've got a few buildings that we don't even have the tech for, which is fine. And we'll go ahead and throw the Budokai bunkers on there as well. I don't know that we're going to need those right away, but okay. We're going to get neural robotics in 1 turn, which is really, really good. And we're going to go ahead and end the turn. Get our ships moving. Combat tactics can be reassigned. We did that earlier. We're going to grab extreme atmospherics. So we've got 1 of these completed, so we're at 2 of 4 now. More population. This ship has another probe to search, another curiosity. 50% experience on heroes. Unique improvement. Okay. We've achieved this objective. Vault of Heroes. Let's see. How much is this going to cost? 8 turns. Can only be built once per empire. I wonder if it's 50% experience on all heroes for all things or only on this system. I kind of want to queue it up, but we'll probably get it done after we get predictive logistics done. And also, we need to colonize at least one of these 2 worlds, if not both of them. This becomes much more effective. Yeah, this planet's actually easier to colonize than this one, so we'll go ahead and do that first. It'll be a little bit quicker that way. Alright. Nothing else is going on. We'll go ahead and end the turn. Move all of our ships. We have discovered the siphons. Grab those. And the Calgaroos. Okay. Well, we'll head over here next, and we'll use our probes to search the Calgaroo. I like that 20 influence per turn from this system now. We need predictive logistics. We could use a Budokai bunker. And I mean, that's probably good for now. That's going to be in 9 turns. We're not going to have to worry about the system for a while. We've discovered... Okay, we've moved up in relations with these guys. These were the ones that were down by the Horatio, all the way down here somewhere, I believe. Yeah. We could assist them. What is our dust situation like? We need to save our dust. Let's go ahead and throw some praise on these guys. So that's going to be 30. That'll be enough to get them completely. And then what about these guys? That'll get us to 60. That'll get us past this chain. Okay. Possess 2 ships with at least 975 offensive power. We could maybe do that. We could definitely stockpile dust for some more influence. Or we could generate more industry for some more dust. The titanium sounds nice. I think I'll go ahead and take this reward. We have 20 turns to do it. I'm sure we'll improve our ship design before the end of that time and produce more ships. 30 titanium is pretty valuable for us. Especially since we have a lot of systems that we're going to be grabbing here soon.
I shall defend the faith, whatever that requires.
Alright, the Vidyani are not happy with us for some reason. And the Calgaroos. First contact. We'll see if we can't get them to like us a little bit more.
Even in holy war, diplomacy...
Yeah, we're not going to pay you anything. You're way too far away for us to worry about you at the moment. Alright. And... we've got 2 more curiosities in this system. So we'll wait another turn. Moving right along. Okay, we're getting close to being able to do an invasion. Let's go ahead and consider changing our current focus. We want to have the potential to use tanks when we do our invasion. Tanks are a tier 2 military technology. This will also improve our command points, which will allow us to field larger fleets when we engage in space combat. This will take 2 turns to unlock, but it may give us what we need. Now, our manpower is kind of low, so what I might do is in some of our bottleneck systems... That one's not quite bottlenecked. Neither is this one really, actually. We should really have these populations over here. Maybe. Yeah. It doesn't quite get us where we want to be, but it gives us more industry per turn, which is worth it. Okay, let's go ahead and colonize this planet next because we'll get some resources for it and it won't take very long. Then we'll grab predictive logistics and maybe infinite supermarkets. We've still got a lot of things to get going here. And this is all pretty moot at this point. We kind of know what's going to happen. Okay. We've reached a new level of negotiation with them. That's good. I think this is likely to happen. We're going to be picking up Ariga in the next couple turns. That's going to give us 2 more strategic deposits, so we'll take that one. Okay.
I shall defend.
Not really concerned about you. Sleep for another turn. We've got 2 and a total of 3 curiosities. Search those for you guys. Ooh. Better slug modules. And a titanium load. We'll wait 1 more turn. And the Argosy has finally made it. With 7 turns, we only need 40 of each, which we have currently, but we also need about 3,000 dust. We might be able to get this. Let's go ahead and check out the marketplace and see if we can't sell off some of our luxuries. So we can just sell all of this and all of this and this and this. What did I do there? I think I just ended our turn on accident somehow. I did. That's unfortunate, but I don't think it's going to hurt us that bad. We had done everything except this. So at 6 turns, the cost is still about 3,000, but we're a lot closer now. We should be able to get this settled by the end of this turn. So let's get everybody moving where they need to be. Manpower is really low right now, so we definitely need to consider using our conscription ability. What do we call it here? Chain gang. So we could go ahead and throw one of these at the top of the queue. That'll get us 1. What What about over here? Maybe throw one of those there. Maybe have pretty much all of our planets. Go ahead and do one. Ah, we can move these guys over here now. And we definitely want as many people over here as possible. But we get extra food for these guys being over here. They provide extra food, so that's good. Let's see if that helps. Okay, we've got the final curiosity. Alright. And because that's the final curiosity, we can then decide where we want to move this ship. So we have a couple of options. One option would be to head out this direction. We kind of have one coming down this way. The other option would be to head over this direction. So I'm kind of leaning more towards heading this way. Let's head over to Kochev and reevaluate where we might want to go from there. We might launch some probes out into this on our way there. Empty construction in this particular region. Let's go ahead and chain gang and predictive logistics here as well. Low manpower will be hopefully resolved. And we finally got our reward of 75. This is going to be mainly used probably to make the money we need. We are planning to wipe out the pirates. This isn't all that exciting since we already have the same module with a 2% ship evasion. This isn't the really good one. There is one with a much higher evasion, like a 20% ship evasion, which is pretty awesome. But we're going to go ahead and destroy them. The torpedoes are lackluster, but this is part of our quest line, so we'll just take it since we're doing it anyways. I think we've already handled most of these, but maybe not. Nope. Okay, so we'll search this one. And then head down to IMEX. More antimatter. Coral reefs. Another nebula. We already took care of his orders. And we already took care of his orders. So all that's left is you. So let's go back to, well, let's mouse over this first. We need 34. 34 of the resources to colonize this system. And just over 3,000 dust. So if I sold 100, that's gonna put me at 1.5. I could probably sell 150. That's 2,000 dust. Let's sell 150. That still gives me 50. That gives me the 34 I need to colonize, and then a little bit extra if we need it for any quests or ship upgrades in the immediate future. And now we should be able to jump right onto this planet. Alright, we need the modernization, which is titanium. We'll go ahead and build our basic buildings. We'll get xeno-industrial infrastructure and public-private partnerships since this is temperate. Then we'll move into the 2 industry-related techs, and we'll go from there. We do need to learn lava ice worlds in order to get that system up and running. And one of the things that we are finishing up is this, which will unlock our second slot here. We'll need one more tech in this tree to get the third and final slot, which will give us a new system development, and that's going to be the lava colonization. We get a discount since we went ahead and got this previous tech, so I'm going to go ahead and queue that one up. And then ice planets are over here, and we're going to need that technology as well for Araga, so I'll go ahead and throw it in the queue. We may move those around, shuffle them up. We may grab some more military related techs before we actually finish those, but I want them in the queue just so we don't forget them. We're quickly approaching the end of this video, and we haven't done much fighting yet, but we're about to. Next turn we're going to engage with the pirates, and this ship is also going to engage with the pirates. So we'll also finish autonomous construction. So let's go ahead and get that done. And let's go ahead and take care of all the rest of the business that we need to before we get into the combat stuff. Maybe this will be a good time to dive into our combat tips for the video. So we finished the autonomous construction. We've got a bunch of manpower in our system again, that's good. We lost some population obviously because of the manpower. Okay, one of these things have worn off, and we get an extra 10 dust for 15 turns. So we got a successful event for our roll. We've now colonized 15%, or we've colonized enough of this particular constellation to get a 15% bonus to food, which is good. And we've assimilated these guys. So let's go ahead and get level 1, get these buildings up, get predictive logistics up, and this is a barren world. We could terraform it to Arctic. That might be worthwhile. It'll definitely give us more population slots. It's going to take a long time though. Let's get this stuff done first. We'll worry about that later. Looks like they have all the basic buildings already discovered and built, so that's fine. Nothing more to do in that system. We did get another fleet. This fleet could be there in 2 turns. So maybe this is a good time to go ahead and pull our hero and finish this quest. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is not ideal, but let's go ahead and get her ship, just in case there's any military stuff going on. We'll improve her engines, we'll give her some scouting probes, we'll give her some basic defenses, we'll give her a repair module, and then weapon-wise, perhaps we'll give her some slugs and some lasers. Let's change the position of these two. Yeah, I like that. And we have a third defensive slot. So this ship has 3 defensive slots? Wow. Alright. We'll go ahead and apply that. And then we're going to unassign her and assign her to a fleet. We'll go finish this quest up and grab this system as well. have the deposits. So we've gotten a new module, but nothing all that exciting. And we got another 30 titanium for grabbing this system, which then grabbed us that system. So we're doing really, really well right now, actually. Alright. Combat time. I meant to hold off on this before, but let's go ahead and talk about combat. So we have equipped this fleet specifically to deal with these pirates. Most of the combat system in Endless Space 2 is about logistics, it's about planning, it's about being a good general and not being a warrior. You're not involved in the fights, you're not out there doing the fighting, but you have to put your troops in the best possible position to actually win the engagements. You do that through several things. One of the things that we did early on is we scouted the enemy, we looked at what they were equipped with, and we came up with the best counter to their particular layout that we could develop at the time. Our tactic, again, is anytime your enemy is using kinetics, particularly slugs, you're going to use the most effective long-range weapon that you have. So we've equipped most of our ships with energy weapons, which are pretty effective at long range. We've got a long-range battle tactic, and to deal with the small number of missiles that they are bringing, which are effective at long range, we've equipped our NAR and our hero ship both with kinetics, with slugs, which gives us flak defenses, which will prevent them from taking too much damage from missiles. Now remember, we talked about in the last video, the NAR is going to absorb most of the fire from these ships. These are attacker class ships, therefore they will always primarily target coordinator or protector class ships, and we have the guardian trait, which increases further the chances of this ship being targeted over any other ship. It is extremely defensively loaded out with two of our really good hull plating modules, so we won't be taking a lot of damage even though we're going to be focus fired. That will allow these three ships to just pound the enemy one at a time. They're going to focus fire one of these shuttles down at a time, and we should see a very, very one-sided battle if everything that I predict happens. So they've been using hard target. That means they're primarily engaging at medium range. That's not a very effective range for their weapons. Long range is effective for missiles. Short range is effective for the kinetics. They're okay at medium range, but they're not going to outperform our lasers, that's for sure. So if they choose this tactic again, it's probably going to work against them. We're going to open up at long range, and we will then move to medium range, where they will start to deal a little bit more damage, but we're going to deal even more because our weapons are better at medium range than theirs are. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this fight and see if all of our planning has been fruitful. Let's switch to the overview and focus on our hero ship. There we go. So these are the enemy ships here, and these are our ships. We should be engaging at long range here, and you can see our fire is not perfect, but we are doing a fair amount of damage to the ships. Most of the fire is being focused on one of the ships, and you can see we're not taking much damage at all. Most of their fire is going to the NAR, and it is defending with its flak defenses. Those missiles are not able to get through our flak defenses, and even if they do, the damage that we take will be minimized by our hull plating. So we're just about to finish the first phase of combat, and we've already destroyed one of their ships. We should be entering medium range here shortly. You can see they're going down extremely quickly now. Yep, and that's the end of that. So a very decisive victory, just like we expected. They attacked us, so we still have our attack point, which means we can do this again. And the neat thing, you did see that our NAR took a little bit of damage in that engagement, but because we equipped this NAR with a repair module, and we took less than 15% of our total health and damage, it is now completely repaired, which means that we can now engage with a full health fleet once again, and we can attack these pirates. So we can actually get rid of these guys pretty quickly, especially if they keep attacking us. This ship's already hurt, so this is going to be a very lopsided battle. There's no need to watch it. It's pretty much an identical engagement. So we're just going to go ahead and fight this one out. Yeah. That was our first battle there. Our hero has leveled up, so we're going to go ahead and give him another point in experience so we can level up him as well as the ships that he's with a little faster. And they went ahead and decided to attack us again. So their other fleets each have their attack point still. They could attack us multiple times. That's one of the advantages of splitting up your fleet into smaller fleets, is you get more attack commands per turn. However, because we outnumber them so badly and because we're equipped much better than they are, this is a really bad decision for them. The fact that they attacked us means they probably won't retreat, which is kind of silly, but they shouldn't have attacked us in the first place. So, decisive victory. And that is the end of that. So next turn we'll be able to get rid of these. We do have 2 probes that we could throw out since we're not going to be doing any moving. And I see several spots we could throw on there and there and try to uncover what's over here that we're not quite sure of yet. Try to remember to use his command probes. You saw the Nar did take some more damage, and we did heal, but it was not enough to repair the ship. Okay, so what are we at? 29 of 36. Yeah. Well, whatever we're doing when we click on this fleet is causing them to attack us again. So I guess we'll just finish them off now. That ends that. And now we're no longer being blockaded. It will take a little time for this pirate mark to wear off, so these guys may be attacked again. So I'm going to leave my fleet here for the time being with a blockade. Actually, do we have any movement left? No, our movement is used up because I shot my probes. We're going to head over here and support these guys in an effort to invade this system. Before we do any invading, now is a great time to jump over here and talk about what we might want to do. Invasions. Okay. Every system has a defensive group of military units or manpower on their system. We are currently reducing theirs by 3 per turn, and I believe this is based on your command points. Double what your command points are. We have 5 command points, so the siege value of a fleet is double the command point total. You can increase that further with modules, which I'll show you in the tech tree, but essentially what you're doing is reducing the amount of military presence through bombing, through siege bombing, in order to make it easier to take over the system. Now, the other thing you can do is you can actually perform an invasion. And if we perform an invasion, this will give you a little bit of information on the quantity of manpower that they can deploy in a fight, as well as the percentage or the type of units that are deployed. So 500 manpower is the equivalent of 100 infantry squadrons. There is a limit to the amount that you can deploy within a single turn, and that can be increased throughout the game or decreased depending on how you're faring in the fight. But there is a maximum number you can deploy. You could have more than that, and those extras will be set aside as reinforcements. So we saw from this here that they actually have 600 manpower on this system, which means they have 100 manpower in reinforcements that we're going to have to deal with. They can only deploy 500 at a time in defense, while we can deploy 500 at a time in offense. Now, coming back over here, this is the breakdown of our troop types. We have 100% infantry. So let's go to this screen, and you can see it costs 5 manpower to make a single infantry squadron. That's why, even though we have 500 manpower, we're only showing 100 infantry. So that's important to know. Each individual infantry squad has 50 health, and they will deal between 12 and 22 damage to the opposing forces. You can provide multiple buffs to the infantry units themselves by paying dust and strategics. Infantry require tier 1 strategics to boost, and they get significant bonuses against air troops or fighters. So their damage is boosted significantly against fighters. They kind of the counter to fighters. Next you have armor. Armor take 15 manpower per unit of armor. However, they do have significantly more health. It's more than 3 times the health of an infantry, and so your units are much better at sustaining. However, they do less damage than 3 times the infantry squads. So 3 times the same amount of manpower in infantry will actually deal more damage than a single tank. Potentially. Obviously it's a random roll, but you'll have a higher max and a higher minimum damage potential. So keep that in mind. Tanks are not as good at damaging overall, just flat damaging, as infantry are, but they're better at surviving, and so we don't lose these guys nearly as frequently. The other thing is that armor get a significant bonus to damage against infantry, and so when you're facing infantry, the best type of unit is the armor or the tank unit. That is what we would like to use if possible. I think we can go ahead and buy these 2 upgrades, and we can go ahead and switch our entire force to tanks. That will be much more effective against their infantry. We could also increase our infantry's effectiveness, but since we plan on using 100% tanks, I think that this is probably what we want to do. So here's the modification cost. It's 250 manpower because we're using all of this. So you can see this number goes down as I reduce it. So each time we push this button, it costs us 25. It's 10 total. So that's 250 manpower. That's why we wanted to use the chain gang to get our manpower up, so we had enough to do this. And then it's going to cost us 10 of these 2 tier 2 strategics and 1,000 dust. We're going to go ahead and confirm that change, and that's going to make us much more effective in this fight than we would have been. So now if we look at the fight, mousing over here, you can see that we're only going to be using 33 tanks, so we're severely outnumbered in terms of just sheer numbers. But remember, our tanks have a lot more health per unit than their infantry do, and even though infantry do slightly more damage, flat damage, we paid for tanks, and tanks have a 50% damage boost against infantry units. So we actually outclass them in both damage and health, so we should win this engagement pretty easily. We're going to go ahead and initiate, and what this is going to do is it's going to drop 500 manpower worth of troops onto their planet. Now 500 manpower equates to 33 tanks, while they're going to drop 500 manpower of infantry. That equates to 100 infantry, and these 2 are going to battle it out. Now we have several different options that we can use here. preemptive bombing, guerrilla tactics, and blitz are the 3 types of ground battle tactics that you get to use within the game. Preemptive bombing, what that does is it reduces the amount of manpower deployment limit. It reduces your deployment limit by 25%. So you can't actually drop as many troops potentially with this tactic, but it does increase the chances of doing damage to both the population and the system improvements, and it also gives you a huge just flat bonus to damage, so 400 to 800 extra damage done to the defenders. This is a good tactic when you're just trying to burn a system to the ground. You use fewer troops per engagement, so you don't lose as many troops this way, but you do tend to destroy systems. So if you're trying to take over a system and use it, particularly if it's one that's well developed, and you want to just keep it as a well developed system, this may not be the best tactic, but it is pretty effective. The guerrilla tactic is one that gives your troops significantly more health but does less damage. They're more cautious in their engagement, so they don't seem to damage the population or the system improvements nearly as much, but it takes a lot longer in order to win the fight. You don't lose your troops, but you don't take as many of theirs with each round, so it takes longer. And then finally is blitz. This gives you a bonus to the amount of troops that you can deploy potentially if you have them. It also increases the likelihood of destroying system improvements or population, and it reduces the health of your troops with a slight damage buff. So this is kind of just an all-out try to get it done as quickly as possible, and this works well if you're completely outclassing or outnumbering your opponents and you want things to go faster. Now this one is the one that we're going to use initially. We're already going to miss out on part of our deployment limit. We actually have a deployment limit of 600 potential, but we only have 500, and reducing this number by 25% isn't really going to hurt us all that much. So we'll go ahead and engage this fight. And I forgot to watch it. There was really no reason to watch it, but okay, so our preemptive bombing, the max number of troops that we were able to actually deploy was 475. That's because preemptive bombing has that reduction in the manpower deployment limit. And so we actually only dropped 31 tanks. We lost 5 of them, but you can see the enemy had 100 troops and they lost 48. So they lost half of their force while we lost maybe 10% of ours. So this is going to continue to go poorly for them. They will be able to replenish a portion of what they lost with their reserve troops. So they'll actually have 360 in the next engagement, not 260, but it's still not going to be enough to save them. We're going to win in the end. And we're going to continue fighting into next turn. We got a couple of things down here we can search, so let's go ahead and do that. And okay. Adamantium and more influence. So let's talk about the last thing. The ships. If I mouse over this, okay. You can see that because we dropped our troops, the ships are currently at 0% manpower. And in order to regain that manpower, one of a couple things has to happen. The first thing is we could just stay here until the troops actually win the war, at which point they'll be transported back to the ship. The other thing we could do is this fleet doesn't have to stay here for this battle to continue. We can actually move this fleet back to a friendly system where it will start to leech manpower from the system every turn until it fills the ship back up. Now the reason that you might want to do this is ships that have 100% of their manpower actually have a significant damage buff in space combat. It's a 20% damage buff when your ships have 100% of their manpower. They do not get the damage buff if they are missing any of their manpower. So ships that have deployed their troops are less effective in combat than ships that have their manpower allotment filled completely. Even if it's just partially depleted, I believe you completely lose that buff. So that's important to keep in mind. What we're going to probably do is just stay in this system until the fight's over, and then we should recoup some of that manpower that's left over from what we deployed. Because this is going so effectively, we don't really need support from this ship anymore. So maybe we send this fleet down this way and we start considering potentially dealing with Horatio. We might stop in Cercini to see if we can retrofit any of our ships for better equipment, and we might actually try to pop out another ship or two. We have a total of 7 command points now, so we could potentially fit 3 more ships in this fleet if we really wanted to. We could do another Gnar and 2 Carves. How many turns would that take if we put that Gnar and 2 Carves? Yeah. So a Gnar and 2 Carves will only take us 4 turns to complete. That'll be enough time for that fleet to actually get here, and we can pick these guys up and have a bigger fleet to head down to deal with the Horatio. So this is what I'm talking about. This game is all about logistics. We're planning to fight Horatio. We need to get our fleets built up as we're moving to recombine them. Remember, the hero doesn't count as a command point. So even though we have 5 ships here, it's actually only 4 command points worth of ships, and that's 4 of our 7 potential. Couple more turns and we'll finish up this game. We are losing manpower at a significant rate because we're building those ships now, and that's going to deplete our manpower, but we should be able to... We should be okay. I don't think we're going to run out of manpower before we get them all built. Okay. Alters. We've added a new hero. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we don't really need another combat hero. An overseer or a counselor. Dust. Approval. Okay, what about you? You're gonna provide the food and... Yeah, so this is gonna be very similar. And more food. Food and more food. And you... Actually, that's not bad. So what if we dropped her down? We'll pick up her as a potential military party leader if we ever do get the military, but we're going to actually make her a system focused hero. So let's go ahead and confirm her as our choice. And let's put her down in Pollux, because Pollux has a very, very useful trait in that all of these are hot planets, and some of them are also hot and sterile. And then we will use her first point in this, which will give us an additional 5 industry on hot systems and 5 on system. So that's going to give her a small amount. How come it's not showing? That is really curious. I'm not sure why she's showing up with 20 food. Actually, I bet I know why. No? She does not have any food-related bonuses. I don't know why this is showing up as food instead of industry. That is really weird. Alright, we've got some more curiosities to search.
I know we can agree.
I don't know what that was about. We need to wait for one more. Okay. So you can see they did get that 100 added back to their pool here. We have 415 because we had a portion of our troops that were not able to participate due to this particular tactic being used added back into our total now. We're going to go ahead and do preemptive bombing again. I think we should just about finish these guys off with preemptive bombing. We've already dealt with her. Honeycomb scoop. And more science. You can see we barely lost any of our units, and they've lost about 2/3 of their total. So next turn we should be able to pretty much wipe them out. Go ahead and move. And we have 2 probes here we can shoot out. There's a lot of unknown territory that way and that way. And then we'll just wait. We got like 6 turns until that quest gets completed. We're working on destroying the pirate layer. It should be done next turn. And that will wrap up the video for today. The Argosy will be ready in 2 turns, so we're going to be able to deploy the Argosy again moving into the next video, should we make that. We're at 7 of 9, but we are going to be picking up this and this very soon. I forget what their quest was. What did they want us to do? We're at 6 of 10 on this quest, so we're close to finishing it. And then this one we're close to finishing. We just started it. What about these guys? We could really use a little bit more praise and get them boosted above. Let's just go with that. That'll pretty much fill this up by the time we're done with them. I don't want to spend our dust because we are going to be using it for the Argosy soon, and we are filling this up quite nicely. So yeah, there's not much else we can do with that. So I think we're just about done. Yeah, we're done with this turn for sure, and then we'll play through the rest of this turn just to see the pirates go bye-bye. Woo! Look at all those. Lots and lots and lots of things going on. Okay. So we've finished this technology, which allows us to start mining the antimatter, which is nice. We're going to pick up the lava planet technology, which is going to give us lava colonization, more industry potential on certain systems, and also the ability to do 3D printing in any system that needs to just find something to do. Create dust is good. Okay, we've colonized another planet. We got drone networks done. More Haroshims and Vultures. Another skill point for you. I'm going to go with just the pure movement speed. This is nice if you're moving between systems, but I don't think it's as useful as just pure movement on your fleets. This helps both constellation travel, the free movement travel, and on the star lanes. If I get 2 points into this and I want to put something into something else, I might grab that, but I would fill this up before I would grab a point in that, in my opinion. It's going to be more useful more often. Alright, I moved to amicable. They've moved up, so we could potentially try to grab these guys. We could pay to get a quest, but I think we're just going to let the praise fill up. Okay, friendly. Lots of minor factions that really like us. The Haroshims population booster can be clicked again. We have probes to drop. Last probe in this system. And then we can go ahead and move down this star lane. Alright, let's go ahead and another titanium deposit. And this will be the last thing that we do. Okay, so if we switch to Blitz, I don't think we're going to get any more troops because we don't have any reserve. This basically is useful when you have troops in reserve and you want to deploy more of them. When you don't have troops in reserve, I think preemptive bombing is still the better tactic. Especially when we have such a small quantity of our total. Like 24 isn't going to get reduced by 25%. It's the maximum amount that you can deploy that gets reduced by 25%. And so if you're already below that, this is actually the better tactic to use more often than not, as long as you don't care about destroying the system, which this is a pirate system, we really don't. So we're going to go ahead and use that same tactic. And I haven't been watching it because there's not really much to see, but we'll go ahead and watch this one just so you can see what it looks like with all of our armored units. You'll see the preemptive bombing happen first, where it'll drop all the bombs on the enemy, and then our troops will kind of come in afterwards. So we'll go ahead and watch it just this once. Kind of cool. Here we go. Preemptive bombing is going to happen first. Here it comes. Boom. And now our troops are going to come in. Boom, boom, boom. And they are gone. And they did not do enough damage to us to actually deal any damage to our tanks, so that was a very effective victory for us. We managed to seize some loot, and the pirate system is now completely gone. We do not get this system colonized, unfortunately, but we could use the Argosy to grab this one. Empty systems that stay empty for too many turns will periodically spawn pirates again, and so it's important to be aware that, you know, you could feel like, oh, we'll just leave this one empty and nobody else can really get to it right now, and then all of a sudden your pirates are back. That can be really annoying to deal with. So be aware that that sometimes happens. Now, the 360 manpower that we have remaining can be siphoned back up into our ships, and I believe it will be once this is over, but we'll need to check that out. So we've destroyed the pirate layer. We've got Hellraiser torpedoes now. I don't know that they're all that much better than torpedoes that we had before, but okay. Hey, look, our Horatio ship finally made it all the way over here. And we have some curiosities we can search. I'm kind of interested in maybe coming to peace terms with the United Empire. As long as they want to kind of stay over here in this corner and let us maybe deal with the Horatio and finish this arm of the Spiral Galaxy, I'm perfectly happy to be friendly with them. They're far enough away from us that I don't think their ridiculous influence is going to be a problem. And I'm kind of curious why, with all the influence they have, that they haven't managed to get the Mavros yet. We may actually try to snipe the Mavros from them because we are producing so much influence with our colonization of the Endless Worlds. Let's go ahead and throw some probes out since we can. We can throw one, maybe that direction, and then another one that way. And we'll go ahead and move over there. It's going to be kind of slow going. This ship is not a very good ship, but it's still useful for scouting. Remember, we also... Okay. We got a pirate ship here. We also had this ship, which is getting close to here. We were going to send it down here and finish scouting some of this territory and see what the Horatio were doing. We're probably going to go to war with Horatio soon. And I think this is probably as good a time as any to kind of wrap up the video. There's not a lot going on in this turn. We will be using the Argosy next turn, so we're going to have to figure out where we might want to go. There was one thing I wanted to check. So this system, not a lot of planets, but not a really exciting system. I wanted to see if our fleet got some of its... Yes, it did. Okay. So you can see, because we're not in an enemy territory, we're actually replenishing manpower similarly to how we would health. So we get about 15% per turn when we're idle in a system. I believe that increases if we're in a friendly system to a higher rate. And so we have 72% of the manpower. So we only lost about 30% of our forces in that fight, which is not bad. We'll recover them pretty quickly, in about 2 turns actually. So I'm not too worried about it. Unfortunately, we don't have any probes in this particular fleet. And so I'm not quite sure where to send them. I think it probably behooves us to send them to Cercini. Cercini is probably the first place that's going to get attacked, maybe Kocheb. But Cercini would be a good place to build our first portal and start building a portal network to all the locations that we want to be able to teleport our fleet to, both offensively and defensively. So I think for the time being, we're going to go ahead and send this ship over to Cercini. And remember, this isn't a really great fleet, and it's not one that we can really edit. So it may actually be at some point just a suicide fleet or a defensive fleet, you know, just to deal with pirates. But as I said, I think this is a good place to go ahead and wrap up the video. I'm not sure if we're getting close to this yet. What is the offensive power of these ships? These ships are weak. Weak, 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 weak. 102? Yikes. Okay. We're going to have to do something about that at some point. 975. Well, even his ship's only... Even his ship's only 150. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that. We're going to definitely have to pick up medium ships in order to finish that quest. But so far so good. I like the way it's going. I hope you guys are enjoying the combat tips as I'm being able to produce them. It's been fun so far, and I will continue this video for at least one more session. I'll keep going as long as I'm having fun and finding good things to talk about in the game. But I'm enjoying it. I hope people are learning some stuff from it, and yeah, keep watching my videos, keep giving me likes and comments, and we'll keep making them for you. Until next time, this has been The Nose Plays, and have a great day.